I am LordMaddog and we are playing Kerbal Space Program. Today we are going to retrieve a Kerbal from the orbit around Minimus, then build a ship to take us to the moon. More or less. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and speed things up here, because you guys don't want to watch me going through all the missions here and looking at different things. I don't think I really find anything all that great, except for I'm looking at this is what I'm planning to do later. Let's look at those moons. Nope, I decided not to. I just decided to go with the missions I have already, and we go back to the one orbiting this thing. Remember, if I built this a couple episodes ago. Transfer 21 science data. Give it more science. Then we begin our rendezvous with, I'm not sure I remember his name. Oh well, it's just a Kerbal. For Kerbal got stuck around Minimus in a piece of a space station. For all things, I always thought that they should rendezvous in orbit. Yeah, that's right. That's also got a mission to do that too. So that actually adds to this. But I always thought that when they have these rendezvous, these rescue, they should have some type of remnant of a ship. You know, kind of proof that they had actually flown all the way out there or something. You might be able to intact save it. What most likely happened is they actually ran out of gas or something. Well, Delta V ran out of fuel and should have to try to save them there, but you know. Yes, a quick burn there. Let's reset my speed. I think we're using Mech Jab's Auto Rendezvous here. Gonna catch him real quick. And rendezvousing. Yeah, I ran out of energy again. The reason why I ran out of energy, I did not realize this for a very, very long time later on this ship, was because I have all those heating things still active, this coolant, and they take power. So I didn't recognize that in this episode. I recognized that many episodes later. Yeah. And there, we completed that. The only problem is you have to take him back, and I never do take him back, ever. Alright, so now we're going to do our first, accept those missions to land on the moon, a crew mission land on the moon, for, accrued and uncrewed, I think. No, because I already did uncrewed. Unmanned, actually is what they're called. Alright, so we are going to load up Lifter here. Wherever I find it. Lifter, yes. Alright, now, this is the ship I had. It had way too much fuel. It didn't need that much. The Delta V just wasn't worth that. Alright. Now, I'm going to make it into a mining ship. One that can mine and grab the resources I need. It'll also have to have its own a cooling system, because if you remember last time, the RSU system, it just didn't turn out that well. I'm reading these here, trying to figure out what the difference is. I ended up deciding, I think, to go with the default one, just scale it down here. I'm pretty sure it's what I do. Been a while since I've gone back over these. You learn a lot by playing different things. Kerbal Space Program is one of those things that just get into your head, and until you finally figure out how to work it, just drives you crazy. As you can see, you cannot. Yeah, that's why I went. Okay, I did not use the default one. I went to this one and scale it down, because you cannot attach units on its side. So here we go. We're scaling it up a bit, making sure it's all a little bit. Clipping's not bad. I'm okay with it. I don't know if you guys are. decided I didn't need all that extra fuel. You really didn't. I really didn't. I'm gonna go ahead and install a radiator. Not a radiator. What do they call that? Try to use a radiator system. I'm gonna go ahead and install a reactor inside my RSU unit here. Give it their action keys, and mini base is what I'm going to call this. Tiny base. Oh, tiny base, yes. And then we're going to add our mining units. Those things are humongously too big, but I go with it because I never realized that they're oversized. They're way too big. And I decided I need more power than the small little 30 power amp one I had. So I decided to go ahead and do that and change it and make it on the inside of that piece instead of the, there we go, and then add on to those. I still have a decent amount of delta V, and I'm adding ore pods so it can collect ore and process. Now this thing obviously can't take off by itself. It is using nuclear powered reactors. I'm just testing it here. We turn it on and we go ahead and fire up the engines, and then we're going to go ahead and start the ISU processing. I'm doing this because I want to make sure I actually have the right amount of heat control, because if you remember last time I had this big fiasco with trying to figure out how the heat worked on it, and it was just a disaster. So I wanted to make sure I had enough heat. And now we're going to go ahead and mine. Test it all out, make sure we have enough heat and everything working. And as you see, I'm using up the fuel. Here. And then, as you notice, I am running out. I am overheating. So those radiators are not good enough to keep it from overheating with everything running. So I have to add more to heat more to what you call it. Here I think I also find out that you can melt down your reactors, your near future reactors. Yeah. And just keep testing it, keep trying to see it out, see what type of efficiency you can get, and try to figure out why that's overheating. And it shouldn't be, at least in my mind. Speed up, seeing how long it takes to actually missing ore. Well, yeah, it's missing ore because I ran out of electricity and didn't even realize it. This is really fast, trying to figure out what's going on. Realized, nope, not enough heat. Not enough heat generators. Add a lot more. Here we go, more. Put them inside the thingy so it looks a little better. Still the same mass. And I lost 200 delta V, which I don't think should matter, because with this we should be able to mine on the surface of whatever planet we take it to. That planet was take it to the moon. And after some testing, we try out the heat to make sure everything keeps running, and yes, it all perfectly fine. I added enough radiators. And a super test, five days I think, or 3, didn't quite see how many. Yeah, it should tell me how many days is up there, but it actually doesn't because it didn't launch. Now, we're going to go ahead and merge this with Lifter, so it'll launch it. First we need to, add some RCs, because we don't want to get up there and end up falling over and not be able to get back up right, because this thing's a little bit awkward and moving up and down. So we have to make sure we have the RC power to flip it up back up right if it falls over. Probably should have used some type of what is it called? Feet. I can't remember what they're called right now. Oh well. Okay, so we're bringing in the lifter here. We're going to attach that. Yep. Landing gear. That was it. I should have used some type of landing gear. Using struts to structurally increase its structure. Making sure I have a pilot Jeb. No, I don't want Jeb. I want a scientist. So, because pilots in this game are, once you have, right off the bat, once you have your probe core, pilots become absolutely useless. At least to me. I don't know if anyone else, what everyone else thinks, but from what I've seen, pilots are more or less useless as long as you have connection with control. And you can do that just by launching a few satellites. So why not? We have liftoff. Loud noise from the jets firing. We launch you into space. We are headed for the moon. Oh no, we find out that my... This is so annoying when this happens. Find out that my flight, center of mass and center of lift is off. So once again, I have to reload and put it back and try again. Launch. And dirty Kerman. Here we go. Look, we have to power down a little bit because we had too much thrust to weight ratio. We almost had 4. We now have 4 thrust to weight ratio, which is just too much. Rips the ship apart. So we had to go at 1/4 that. We hit a good 85, and we wait till we get out of atmosphere. So we have good ISP, because you have better ISP in the back, and we go ahead and get ourselves into orbit here real quick. Yes. Speed up again. Now, I've always, from what I've seen, is you get a little bit better by flying to your epilepsy when trying to get into orbit. Just a tad bit better. Delta V conservance, like somewhere in the line of up to 200 to 300 sometimes, I've noticed. And if you have plenty of Delta V, it doesn't matter. But here I was trying to conserve enough Delta V to make sure I could send my ship home. So I was going to go ahead and circleize somewhat there. There, circleized. And we're going to go ahead and release that. And we're going to go ahead and send it back to Earth. Oh, Kerbal. Yep. So now it'll go ahead and land, but I have stage recovery. I will get a certain amount of that money back, which is at this time I actually really need a lot of money. Add hominin. Add hominin to transfer to target. We are headed to the moon again. Yes, I know it seems like we're doing so a lot. This is the second time we go to head to the moon. Oh no, third time for the moon? But that's what the missions require, you to have a new ship every time. There we go. Perfect contact with the moon. 1 day out, we go ahead and speed and stage recovery. There we go. That's what we received from sending that ship back in. Refine my thing so we can get into a orbit around the moon. I know polar orbits are, statistically speaking, sort of better, but I always find myself wanting to go in a normal 90 degrees horizontal. I don't know, no, I'm not sure what they would call that. Oh, also, it's also very important to do that this time too, because I also had to land on that thing there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and burn to get into a good orbit, circularized orbit around the moon. Site Alpha. That's right, we're aiming for that there. That's because of this mission requires us to land there. And we add another maneuver. And make sure we aim specifically for, here we go, aiming, lining up, go. Yay, now we're going to go ahead and land on the moon here. Whee! Alright, so the pause there, and here we're going to try to refine that. It doesn't work. Oh, I also got this great mod, because I was talking about having the waypoints be visual, and so I got a mod that finally can do that. I can't remember the name of the mod right now. Once I'm done with the entire series, I will add all the mods I ended up using in the description, and I will also take all my craft files, zip them into a thing, and then upload them to what is it called, Dropbox, and put a link. So if you like any of my craft files, I'll go ahead and put it in there too. Here we try to fly around. Oh, we have touchdown, but we're gonna crash. Ooh, I busted off my antenna there, but don't matter much. Gotta get flipped back up. And I find out here that I do not have enough RCs to lift myself up like I should be able to, but it's fine. Oh, and we entered the site. We're gonna go ahead and land, and there we go. So we count, at least I thought I had to land, but I actually didn't have to land. These are meant for rovers, but I found that doing this mission with a rover was almost impossible, because this mission is always generated right in heavy craters, because they want you to make a really good rover that can go up and down these. However, making a rover that actually can go up and down them, I find, is pretty close to impossible. Okay. We landed in that, and now we're sliding down the hill. Now we only gotta do is land. But because I'm in a bad position and I can't get back up on my head, I end up having to load before I got to this. So I spend like 15-20 minutes trying to get things to work out here, which thankfully you guys will not have to watch in real time. I think I crashed here, so that's why I ended up having to reload. I either run out of fuel, or yeah, I was looking for a place to land, and I ended up flying all across this whole crater looking for a good decent place, but none of it's actually straight. I actually think I've been pretty good navigating this, just little bursts or floating up and around. But it ended up being off or not, because when I tried to land later on, it just didn't turn out well. I fell over, and I could not get myself back up right. I run out of, just couldn't do it right. Yep. And thinking that I had saved at some point right before I landed, I went ahead and reloaded because, oh, yep, boom, blew myself to bits. Alright, reloaded. We ended up reloading to right here before entering Site Charlie. And thinking I had to land to get a count, which actually found out later I don't, thankfully, because landing here just ends up being a disaster, because it's on a really steep inclination. Yep, no, not gonna work. Here we go again. You can imagine absolute frustration here, because I thought you had to land. Thankfully you don't. It was just way too much. And even after that though, trying to land successfully and anywhere took me a long time to find any place that actually would have a decent amount of flatness for me to actually be able to land. Oof. Yeah. Auto land and then guidance from what is it called? Mech jab, just sometimes not so good. As you've seen before, I've tried to use the land at target and it always flies to the other end of the earth, other end of the planet. I just don't know why. Ah, okay, yes, there we go. And now I can deployed. We are good. And I think that's where we're going to probably stop the episode today. Well, no, we have a little bit more. We can do a little bit more here. Take surface sample, which I already have this data, and I was really upset about that because, well, I thought I went through all that to come all the way out here. One giant fall for Doodly Derby Kervin. Finally, a good place to land. Yes. Bored anyway. Alright, we gotta send some data home. And then we have to return safely. So we go ahead and turn on our RC here. And fire everything up. Make sure everything's running. Almost wherever. I didn't actually need it to do that. 5 years is plenty enough. I should have just left it at full power. And Space Center. Alright, so that was what we did today. I'm looking for missions again, but didn't really find anything I wanted to do. But that's it. See you next time.